So today let's go through an interesting relic that sort of changes the way that you play a bit, which is Strength of Stone. This gives you a power that any ally that you summon is given +0/+1 and formidable. So formidable makes it so when you attack, you use your health instead of your power to deal damage. So this makes it so you really want to build your deck around having a lot of health on your units, and that other ways to gain health or regenerate health are really important, so that when you do take damage on your units, they don't all of a sudden hit for no damage anymore. There's quite a few champions that this actually works on, probably more than you would initially think. So let's go through a couple of the champions. You can see I have Spirit Blossom Evelyn here. I think it's one of the best relics on her. It's also really good on a lot of other Spirit Blossom champions because there's a specific rune that they have. So if you go to their constellation here, if you unlock the rune star slot, there's this rune that's Spirit Armor, and this makes it so when you summon an ally, you give it an additional +0/+3. So this means that, a lot of Spirit Blossom champions have ways to summon ephemerals and other things like that. Anytime you summon one of those ephemerals, it will get +0/+3, and from the Strength of Stone, it'll get another +0/+1, so it automatically gets, +0/+4, which is like if you're typically dropping a 1/1 and it becomes a 1/5, and you're attacking in for 5 damage instead of 1 damage, that is a huge difference in terms of being able to remove the enemy board or, even just hit their nexus for a lot more damage. Part of the reason we're using this on Evelyn, she gets this star where followers you acquire in adventures have bounty board, which just means when they die, they automatically summon 1-cost units. So we don't mind just sacking a lot of our units in. They'll, drop new 1-costs, but those 1-costs will have a lot more health and be able to defend effectively and attack in again effectively. And so that works really well for her. She also has a decent amount of health to start, as well as she has this relic, Siphoned Sorrow, which is a really good combo relic. I use this on a number of champions that I use Strength of Stone on. This makes it so when I'm summoned or round start, I steal 3 health from a random unit, and that unit that it steals health from can't drop below 1 health. So they have to have at least 4 health for you to get the full 3 health drain and get that. But as long as they have a decent amount of health, you'll get some additional health onto your unit. They will be able to attack in for more, and it is very strong from that perspective. So some other champions that this works really well with. This is probably one that is very strange for a lot of people, but I use this on Teemo. So the main reason I used on him, he's typically a 1/1. He's pretty easy for people to remove, but instead, when I drop him, if the enemy has any units out there, I drain some of their health. He gets bonus health himself, so he's a lot harder to remove with just ping damage, stuff like that. He also, you get the +2 here from the Strength of Stone and +1 here. So, he's at least dropping as a 1/4, and generally if they have a unit, he gets another, +1, 2, 3 health. Somewhere in there. So oftentimes he's, 1/5, 1/6, 1/7. And then you attack in with Elusive. You hit for 7 damage using this like Mischief Maker's Flute. You're then planting 7 puff caps in their deck. And then each turn, the next turn, if they have another unit on the board, you drain another 3. He becomes a 1/10. And then, you're attacking or defending for 10, planting every time you hit for 10, you're planting 10 puff caps, and he just keeps scaling each turn, planting a ton more puff caps in their deck and then doubling them afterwards. So really strong there. There's Kane is really good with this. I don't think I currently have it equipped on him, but I oftentimes run him with Strength of Stone, really strong. You can substitute out, like Starforged Gauntlets or something like that. But if you're using the Darkened Blade, this would make him have 8 health. And then if you put in Strength of Stone, it makes him like a 211 when you drop him. And then also he's a Darkened, so even if you're using like Beast Within, you'll be at a 312. And so hitting for 12 damage when you drop him rather than hitting for 2 damage or 3 damage is a huge difference. And then when you're attacking in with Challenger, you're also able to remove a lot bigger units with, 11, 12 damage rather than just 2 or 3. So, yeah, really strong. And then he also has from his Constellation that when he kills things, he gets +2/+2, or any unit in his deck. When they kill things, they get +2/+2 and they full heal. So this means that they're able to stay healthy as long as they have the power, or sorry, not the power, the health to kill stuff. Then you can really easily get their health back. A lot of his deck actually has decent health. These just have 3, but this guy has like 7 health. This one's most of them aren't like amazing or anything like that. Some of them do have more power than health, but once you factor in the extra health that they gain, the +1 that they get when they're dropped from the Strength of Stone, that often is either even or better than their power. So like here, this becomes a 3/4, this becomes, a 3/8, and whatnot. This becomes a 5/5. So yeah, there's definitely a lot of benefit to that. Works out quite well with Kane. Mostly it scales him really well, but other units in his deck also benefit. Another character that it's great on is Soraka. So Soraka is a champion who's constantly healing. She also has, by default here, 6 health, so it's really easy to use Strength of Stone and then Starforged Gauntlets. That gets her to 8 health, so then she can trigger Starforged. This makes it so you get the extra mana gem at the start. This is a great build that I often use to go into some of the higher tier adventures where she needs to have more damage and power in order to be able to overcome things. So oftentimes use this. Really strong, especially since you're healing a lot of your units. You can also get a star on her thing that gives you regeneration. So all her followers you acquire in adventures get regeneration. So that works really well with Formidable. You generally want to look at your champion, see, okay, is there a way that my units can get regeneration or that I'm generating additional units? As we mentioned, like the other Spirit Blossom units like Ari generates a bunch of ephemerals. Those can also get that those bonuses if you have the Spirit Armor. Similar with the Spirit Blossom Yi, he also generates a bunch of ephemerals, and those can also get those bonuses. There are other champions that work really well with Strength of Stone. Leona, if she has her Relic. So if we look at her relics, her relic gives allies have Daybreak, or allies that have Daybreak have Tough, and when any ally activates Daybreak, you give all your allies +0/+1. So this will scale the defense of your entire board really well. And then with Strength of Stone, you just have a ton of health on all your units. You're attacking in for a ton of damage. And then as long as you have Overwhelm, you're just able to punch through, do a bunch of damage. So yeah, really good with her relic as well. There's a couple different things you can do with this. You can also, use like Chosen by the Stars or other things like that to get regeneration on your units if you're more individually champion focused and you just want to make sure that you have that regeneration to get back up to having a bunch of health. That can be very good. Yeah, overall, just Strength of Stone, actually a pretty fun relic. It's especially if you're using it in combination with some of those other relics, there's a lot more champions than you might initially think that it's good on. And yeah, I think I also, yeah, I'm using it here. Similar thing to what I was doing with Teemo, where she just summons a bunch of, units from portals. They will get this extra defense. And then also I'm using the siphoning so that she stays healthy and can attack in for more as an elusive. So just very similar to Teemo, sort of fun way to play with her using this Strength of Stone. So yeah, I think it's a great relic. You should try it out, see if there's other champions that you might like it on, and especially those that spam out a bunch of units. It can be quite strong. Even champions like Evelyn and other champions, it can be good on. You can mess around with the different other relics that you're using and make sure that you're scaling your health. Ways to regenerate or get additional health for your units is also really important. So that's about it. Just figured I'd cover that relic a little bit more, see what other champions and whatnot you can use this on so that you think about other options for it. Anyway, hope you enjoyed, and we'll catch you in the next deep dive.